Since I retired, I have time now. Hello everyone and welcome to Crafting with Delonda. It's me again, Delonda, and thank you so much for joining me today. Remember a couple of months ago when I did my unboxing and I was showing you all the stuff that I purchased that I planned on using and I didn't have time? Well, guess what? I have time now. I was able to use the Foil Quill set that I unboxed, that I purchased, and I made this fancy schmancy bookmark. And I cannot wait to share this process with you. At the end of this video, if you find it helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Now, without further ado, let's get started. The materials I'm going to use for this project include the We Are Memory Keepers Foil Quill set. I'm using painter's tape, a green standard grip mat, acrylic bookmarks that I purchased from Amazon. I'm using my Cricut Maker. However, you could also do this project from a Cricut Explore Air 2. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. I am in Cricut Design Space and I am connected to the Cricut Maker. However, you could do this project from any full-size Cricut cutting machine. The first thing I'm going to do is go to New Project, and then when the canvas opens up, I'll click on this option for My Stuff, and I will do a search for the engraving field. So when I look through my stuff, I can see that I have multiple engraving fields here, but you will be looking for the one that looks like this. It says engraving field pattern, was inspired by Kay Hall's project. It has been shared and it has been bookmarked 1,200 times. Okay, so what I'm going to do is click on Customize, and this will bring it into my canvas. Once it comes into the canvas, I'll leave it there for now, and I will go over to the left to the Shapes panel and I will grab a rectangle. Now I'm going to resize my rectangle to match the size of the bookmarks that I'm using. You would be matching this rectangle or whatever shape you have to match your templates. So what I'm going to do here is unlock this, and I'm going to change the width to 5.5. and I would change the height to 2.0. Okay. The next thing I would do is change this from a basic cut to a pen. And I do want the pen to stay black. All right, this color right here. So then the next thing I'm going to do is just duplicate this. And I think it's very important in any project in Cricut Design Space to always pay attention to what's in your layers panel, because your layers panel lets you know what's going on in the canvas. So right here, I have two rectangles that are set to pen, and then I have the engraving field. Now I'm going to just move one of the rectangles out because I don't need it just yet. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to do a search for a floral border. So I'm going to go over to Images, and in the search I'm just going to type floral border. And I'm going to look at the different options that come up. And I'm going to just look and find one that really speaks to me or that stands out to me. When I started doing this project before, this was the one that really stuck out to me. So I'm going to add it to my canvas. Once again, paying attention to what is in the layers panel, I can see that this file has two layers. So what I would do is I would bring the file, I'll bring my canvas down, the view on my canvas down to right at 50%, just so we can see everything that's going on. So now with this file, I'm definitely going to bring it down. And what I want to do is make sure that this border will fit nicely in my bookmark template. So what I'm going to do is just resize it like this. I'm gonna bring the view up to 75%. Okay. And let's go over and up. Okay. And in order to like really resize it and make sure that it looks nice inside of this I'm using air quotes that you cannot see, is I would have to unlock the template. So what I'm going to do is unlock this, and I am going to bring it down, but I'm also going to stretch it out like this. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to bring this right at 4.54, and I want the height to be right at 1.66. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I really want to pay attention to the top and the bottom of the bookmark template. And I also want to keep in mind that there is a small hole at the end of the bookmark that I have to make sure that I'm keeping the space clear for that. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to grab a text box and I'm going to move it over, and I'm going to change this text. I'm going to type my name, and I am going to change it to one of my system fonts. Remember, system fonts are fonts that you have downloaded on your computer that are not in Cricut Design Space already. So I'm going to click on system, and I'm going to use a font that's called Boho. Okay, so like that one, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to bring it down and resize it so that it fits nicely on the line and that you can still see it. Okay, I think this looks pretty good. However, I want to get it on the line, but I also want to stretch it out, and I don't want it to look too distorted. So instead of stretching it out, what I'm going to do is go to letter space and just increase the letter space, the space in between the letters. Okay, so I'm going to go up to right at about 2. Okay, like that. I like it like that. Now I'm just going to hide the rectangle just for a second, just by clicking on the eye, and I'm going to select the floral border plus my name, and I'm going to select a line, and I want to center this horizontally. Oh wait, did I do it? Center her, okay. And then the next thing I want to do, I have both items selected. I want to click combine and weld. Okay, and I like the way this looks. And what I'm going to do now is I am going to take the design and I am going to move it over here on top of the engraving fill. I'm going to select the engraving fill plus my design, and I am going to slice it. Okay, it does take a second. Sometimes I'll get antsy and I'll click slice more than once, and then I have all of these extra images on my canvas. So I am going to be patient while Cricut Design Space slices this image from my engraving fill. Okay, so now I can just move the engraving fill over, and what I should have here are 3 different versions of my name with the floral border. And what you would have to do in this case is look at these 3 options and see which of the 3 looks the best to you. And if they all look exactly the same, it really doesn't matter which one you choose. Okay, so I am going to just delete 2 of them because I only really need 1. Okay. All right, and so now I am going to turn that rectangle back on. Now, you may be wondering, if you've never seen me use the shapes as templates, or I'll use air quotes, fake templates. The reason why I do that is that it helps me with placement on the mat when I'm doing engraving. So this option right here, this rectangle, is going to stay black. I'm going to keep it as the black. And for the floral border with my name, I'm going to change the color of that. And I'm also going to change this from a basic cut. I'm going to change this to a pen, but these 2 have to be different colors. Okay, so this one is going to be, I'll just choose tawny. Okay, we'll go with tawny. And I'll put this inside of the rectangle, and I'll select the rectangle plus the floral border in my name, and I will attach this. Okay, so this looks like there are multiple operations going to happen right here. portion of this is going to be looking for a black pen, and then the machine will also look for a tawny pen. Okay. All right. So now let's move to the next bookmark. For this next one, I'm not going to look for a floral border. I'm just going to look for a border. So I'm going to go to images. I'm going to do a search for border, and I will find one that sticks out to me or one that I really like. Okay, I like this one right here, so I don't even need to speed this up. I can just use it just because I found the one I like. All right, so now this design is a little bit different, and this whole file is different because this one has multiple layers. So each one of these dots and these hearts and the line, all of these are individual layers, and that's fine. What I'm going to do is bring this one down to a size that will fit nicely here in this template. And okay, so let's just scroll and bring it down. Okay, I am going to unlock this first, and I want the width to be right at 4.8, and I want the height to be at 1.78. Okay, and I am going to fit that right in there just like that. All right, I think that looks fantastic. All right, and the next thing I'm going to do is, let me move all of this over, and let me go and grab a text box, and I'm going to type my name again, Delonda, but I'm not going to use this font. I'm using a different font. I'm going to go up here to font, and I'm going to close that part out, and I'm looking for a font that is called Valentine, like that, okay, with an M as in Michael. All right, and what we're going to do is bring this up and make sure it fits nicely inside the template. What we're going to do is, let me bring this down some because I don't want my name, I don't want it touching those lines. I want it to just fit in there nicely. Okay, and let me turn the rectangle off again the way I did the first time. Then I'll select this whole thing, and I will click align, and I want to center it horizontally the same way I did the first time. And I'm going to go to combine and weld, and I'm going to slice this one the same way I did with the first one. I'm going to add it over here to the engraving fill, select the engraving fill plus the bookmark design, and I am going to click slice. All right, so I'm going to move this out, and the same thing, I can look at these and decide, or I can just take one and delete the others. And I can turn this engraving fill off for now. I really don't need this anymore for this tutorial, but I am going to get that rectangle. Now let me change this design to from a basic cut to a pen, and I'm going to change the color of it to that tawny, and I'm going to change this, it's going to be black like that, and I'm going to select the design and the rectangle, and I am going to attach them. So now I have both of my designs, and we are ready to click make it. Now, one thing I did not say while I was in Cricut Design Space is that this, before we even got to this part, it would have been a good idea to save your design just in case something happens. You don't want to have to do all that work all over again. So now I will get these positioned where I want them to be on the mat, and I will get them prepared for the foil quill. So the reason, hopefully you can see now the reason why I have the rectangles here. So my Cricut is going to be looking for a black pen to trace right here, but I won't have a black pen in that slot in clamp A because nothing will be there for that part. I will only use the foil quill when it's time for the actual design. At having the pen option right here helps me to know where to place the bookmarks. So what I'm going to do is click continue. Okay, and the material settings that I'm going to use I'm going to look for heavy cardstock, even though I'm not using heavy cardstock. That's just the option that I want to use. I'm going to click done. And right now, you can't even change the pressure. I don't even have the option to change the pressure. Right now, once I get to the mat, my Cricut is going to ask for the black pen and clamp A. Nothing is going to be there, but it's going to do a fake trace. And everything I'll do from here will be back on the camera. In order to prepare the acrylic bookmarks for using the foil quill, the first thing I'm going to do is remove the plastic from one side of each of the bookmarks. After removing the plastic from one side, I'm going to use the foil and wrap them and tape them securely. As you are preparing your blanks, make sure to pull tightly and keep the remaining foil off the mat. Because I'm using my Cricut Maker, I will be able to use the available USB port that is on the left side of the Cricut. But before I insert the USB into the port, the first thing I'm going to do is remove the pen adapter from clamp A. You do this by opening clamp A, pushing down with your thumb, and pushing up with a different finger until you hear the pen adapter click. Once you hear that, just remove the pen adapter and place it to the side. I have my mat inserted into the Cricut Maker. The foil quill is inserted on the left in the USB port. Nothing is in clamp A. What I'll do is press the flashing C, and I will let my Cricut start to look for the black pen to go around the rectangle template. It is now time to insert foil quill pen C into clamp A, but be careful as you handle it because it does heat up. I will press the flashing C and the pen will start to create the design over the heat activated foil. We have reached completion in Cricut Design Space. Now it is time to remove the foil quill pen from clamp A and from the USB port on the left. It is important to place it somewhere that it can start to cool down safely. Now let's remove the mat and see how the bookmarks turned out. So this is the first bookmark. I think it looks really nice. Remember, the plastic is still on the other side. Let me use my weeding tool to remove that and add a tassel to it, and let's get a better look. Look at that. I love it. I love it. Now let's take a look at the second one. Oh no, it missed a spot. I'm not sure why that happened, but let's remove the plastic and take a closer look. I don't love it as much, but let me give you my final thoughts. You already know I'm going to say I love it. I love this so much. I think it came out very, very nice. And I think this would be a nice gift for maybe a book club, or even if you have like a group of people who would love a bookmark like this, maybe even for your students, if you felt like they would do a good job of taking care of it, you know, even if it's at the end of the year or at Christmas time. The foil quill can be used with multiple machines. So it works with the Cricut, Silhouette, Brother, and Sizzix. Of course, I only have a Cricut. I also have a Caesar Romeo, but I'm not sure how I would use it with that. I was a little bit nervous to use this because I had to remove the pen adapter and I didn't really feel comfortable about doing that. Please know that my Cricut Maker and my Cricut Explore are both out of warranty. So, you know, I'm not sure if this voids your warranty by adding this additional attachment because this is not a Cricut product. So you will be taking a risk by doing that. Please know that ahead of time. If you found this tutorial helpful, please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and turning on the bell for notifications because I do upload new content every single week. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thanks for watching. Bye. I don't know. It's giving fancy.